Hello, everyone. Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central, and I am back with another reading comprehension and discussion video. This time I'm reading a Time article, Time magazine article, and it's all about sleep and how much sleep we need. I have not read the article yet, so I don't know whether I agree with it or disagree with it. I'll make my comments as we go through the article. If I have anything to say about it, you can let me know what you think in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or you can shoot me an email as well. You can also send me an email if you want to learn more about my tutoring programs. Locally, I teach at the big table here, but I teach all over the world online. I can send you more information, or we can have a free online information meeting to discuss learning for you or your children. I'm going to try, and I'm going to read the article directly from the site to try and avoid any copyright issues. I have been coughing a lot lately, so I'll see whether or not I can get through the article without coughing. I have my button here to mute me if there is any issue, but we'll hope not. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and liked videos, commented, shared videos. It's all very, very helpful, and I do appreciate it. Okay, let's share my screen, and we'll have a look at the article itself. You can see it is a Time article entitled, "Here's How Much Sleep You Need According to Your Age." It says it's a 6-minute read. It might be a bit longer with my comments. By Jeffrey Kluger, September 4, 2024, so not that long ago. I saved this article so we could read it later. Sleep is a moving target. When you were a newborn, you slept for most of the day, then less as an older child. As a teen, you slept later. A senior's bedtime is earlier, part of a lifetime journey of rising and falling sleep needs depending on age. How much sleep do you need at the various stages of life, and why do our requirements shift all the time? I'll apologize for the flashing ads and things, but like I say, I want to read it directly from their site so we don't get into trouble. So yes, interesting. Sleep does change often over time and with your age, but of course it also changes with our jobs and our duties and the things that we have to do at home as well. So let's have a look here. Newborns and babies. Babies aged 0 to 3 months sleep 14 to 17 hours out of every 24, partly a function of the newborn's introduction to the world after 3 trimesters in the darkness of the womb. A large share of time in the womb is spent sleeping, and the reason for so much slumber is the same both before and after birth: growth. Babies triple their weight between birth and 1 year old, and it's during sleep, especially the deep cycle called slow wave sleep, that growth hormone is most prodigiously released. Adding bulk is not the only thing the youngest babies are doing. There are a lot of new neural connections forming, says Dr. Yi Kai. You know what I'm going to do? I actually forgot about this. I can make this a little bit bigger since we don't really need to see all of those ads. Okay. Sorry I didn't do that a bit earlier, but I think we're fine. There are a lot of new neural connections forming, says Dr. Yi Kai. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Director of sleep surgery at the Columbia University Irving Medical Center, and a lot of new learning going on. Everything's new, and that's a prominent driver of sleep needs for that age. Later, in the first year, from 4 months to 12 months, sleep needs drop slightly to about 12 to 16 hours. But that's not because babies are growing less. Rather, Kai says, they are beginning to develop circadian rhythms that connect them to a more common dark, light, day-night cycle. Then we have toddlers and preschoolers. In the 1 to 2 year age group, sleep needs drop again to 11 to 14 hours and fall further to 10 to 13 hours from ages 3 to 5. This is due to a somewhat slower growth rate as children move out of babyhood. Cognitive needs change too. Learning is consolidated when we're sleeping, and it's in the first months and year or two of life that we vacuum up the most basic knowledge. Yeah, there's a lot going on then. When you're younger, there's a lot more relevant learning that goes on, says Joshua Tall, New York-based sleep and health psychologist. You're learning who the people in your life are and what language is. By 18 months, toddlers' need for naps generally decreases to just one per day, lasting from 1 to 3 hours, according to the National Sleep Foundation. In the 3 to 5 year group, napping during the day may continue to be necessary, especially since the preschooler's growing imagination may lead to more bad dreams or nighttime fears, monsters under the bed, goblins in the closet, which can disrupt sleep. There are no hard rules here, however, and there can be significant differences from child to child. Yes, and that's going to be the same at any age, including adults and older people. There's going to be differences between individuals. And yes, the monsters under the bed and the goblins, a lot of that is from continuing learning, but also your imagination is developing. We are, as humans, pattern-seeking entity. So we're always looking for patterns, and children are excellent at forming patterns. So all the shadows and things, they look like something. It could be a person, could be a ghost, could be a monster. So I think that's what's happening. And it happens more often as children. Some people think, oh, because they're more sensitive to the supernatural. But it's not that, I don't think. I think it's just a natural. There's no supernatural about it. And the reason it disappears as you get older, just like a lot of other things, we learn more. And those shadows no longer, even though we can make shapes and if we want to with our imagination, we know that they're not actually monsters. We have some kids that are dropping the nap much earlier than other kids because it's affecting them at night, says Tall. Other kids have very predictable naps. Then we have kids and teens. Kids from 6 to 12 years maintain patterns not unlike preschoolers, with sleep needs falling only slightly to 9 to 12 hours per night. But the need for naps disappears. As puberty hits, however, there is a big change. I think probably all of you know that. 13 to 18-year-olds need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night, but the sleep schedule shifts, with bedtime coming later in the evening and wake up coming later in the morning. Parents raising teens will commonly notice that the child who once bounded out of bed at 7 a.m. on weekends is now sleeping till 11. That, says Kai, is because the release of the sleep hormone melatonin changes occurring later in the evening. Um, Yes, I'll finish reading this one and then I might comment. A lot of teenagers just have a delayed sleep drive, she says. That's why some teens run into problems with early school times, where they may not get the sleep they need to be up in time for school. And then they might need to catch up on their sleep during the day when they're back home. That, says Tall, is a real problem. A good kid is finishing their homework and going to bed at 10, and they still have to wake up at around 6 for school, he says. Built into our society, there is this devaluation of sleep. I agree and I disagree at the same time because I think that some of this is learned behavior. I think particularly today with all the cell phones and media and things to distract kids and keep them up until 2 or 3 in the morning. Although uh, probably yes. Circadian rhythms and things do change. Hormones are definitely changing during this time. I think a lot of the issue with getting up in the morning is because you didn't even go to bed at 10. So, um, and I and I'm not sure that students are really doing their homework until 10 either. So some some agreement there and some slight disagreement there because I work with children all the time, and yeah, I see that it can be at least somewhat corrected, the learned behavior part of it anyway. Adults. Past the teen years, the body is done growing and the brain is more or less finished developing. That's when the need for sleep falls to 7 or 8 hours a night. There's less cognitive growth and it's more maintenance mode for the body, says Tall. Adults who need significantly more than 8 hours may be suffering from a sleep disorder. Obstructive sleep apnea affects about 1 billion people worldwide, according to Kai, and is the leading cause of disrupted sleep. The upper airway or the throat is collapsing over the course of the night, and people have these micro awakenings because they stop breathing and their body wakes them up to take a breath, she says. That can lead to really poor quality sleep and non-refreshing sleep. I don't know about 1 billion people. That's like what, 1 out of 8? Maybe. Seems like a lot. Other people may suffer from hypersomnia, an excessive need for sleep that is not satisfied by logging even 10 hours at night and taking naps during the day. The cause of hypersomnia is unclear, though treatments, including stimulant medications and lifestyle changes such as avoiding caffeine and exercise before bed, may help. Yeah, so I think there's many, they named a couple of major ones here, but I think there's probably many reasons people are not able to sleep or stay asleep. But certainly sleep apnea can be a very serious one, so you want to make sure that's not what's happening. Seniors, for people 65 and older, the release of melatonin slows, leading to a bit less sleep as well as lighter sleep. Circadian rhythms also advance, says T.L. So seniors go to bed earlier and they wake up earlier. Age-related physical changes such as prostate problems in men that lead to frequent bathroom trips during the night can also have an impact on sleep and steady sleep. For people who are having a hard time sleeping the right amount of hours for their age group, Kai says, consulting a sleep doctor might be in order. It's always worthwhile to see a specialist if there are any significant struggles, she advises. Then there's more must reads, but I think that's the end of the article. Okay, yes. As you get older, things change. Obviously, lots of things change. Physical things change too. You may have prostate issues if you're a man. You may have pain in your joints and other things that happen, other illnesses that can affect your sleep as well. So they've named a few. It's a good article. I think it's a very good article. And it's a 6-minute read. And so if they wanted to include everything else, it'd be a much, much longer read. So there's always a balance there. But of course, there's lots of things that can interfere with our sleep. I'm just going to try to stop that from popping around. So here's how much sleep you need. According to this, of course, it varies considerably. I guess I can stop the share here. It varies considerably from person to person. Each individual is going to have his or her own issues or non-issues. Some people sleep perfectly every night, don't have any problem, wake up refreshed in the morning. Other people have a little bit of trouble sometimes, but not all the time. And then other people have trouble most of the time. I have noticed as I've got older that I am waking up earlier and earlier. I never was a late sleeper. I never slept till 11 in my life, except maybe when I was really ill with a flu or something like this. But otherwise, that's just not me. It never was. But it is getting earlier and earlier, ridiculously early sometimes, and can't get back to sleep. So might as well get up and do some work. And then usually I do have a nap later in the day just because it's a very long day when you're seeing students in the evenings, and then you still have to stay up after that. So I do try to do that. But everyone is going to be a little bit different. One thing I would say that wasn't really mentioned in the article was some people try to sort of self-medicate or take homeopathic remedies. And while some of those may be helpful, you do want to be cautious because if there is a serious problem like sleep apnea or something else, you want to at least have that checked and just make sure that there isn't that issue. And then maybe those other alternative methods could be helpful. But you also want to watch if you're taking any kind of product, because even if it's so-called natural, they can interfere with other medications you are on, or they can interfere with other natural products that you're taking and can become more dangerous or problematic for certain individuals. So you want to make sure that there's no issues with the way that they work together or even individually. Natural doesn't mean very much. There are natural mushrooms that will kill you if you eat them. There are other natural plants. Quite a few years ago now, I heard of someone, I think it was out east, and they were just playing around and ate some flower or some leaves off of a plant and got very sick and ended up dying, and just a young guy. So be careful with natural. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe. So I would say that. There are other things that you can do to help. Of course, I think shutting off all of your devices, making sure that they're or in a place where you can't hear the beep or the ringing or whatever, so that that's not interfering with you all the time. Making sure the lights are off or down. Some people have a night light so they can see when they get up to go to the washroom at night or whatever, but you want to make sure that you don't have glowing things all around you. And often I think it's a good idea to sit down, even if you are watching television or a computer screen or something, it's good to get away from that for a little while, at least 15 minutes, half an hour or so, and maybe read a book or do a crossword puzzle or something that's calmer for your eyes, for your mind. If you're watching some drama show or something or some exciting uh, I don't know what people watch, but reality shows or something where there's a lot of lights and flashing and excitement and car races and other things, competitions, other things going on. Get your adrenaline going, and even if you're just sitting there, your mind is going. And so if you shut it off and just go to bed right away, that you can still be running in your mind. And so having something calmer, listening to some nice music that calms you, and just relax a little bit before you go to bed. I know there's lots and lots of other things that people do, and they'll work for one person, they won't work for another. For some people, drinking coffee is an issue. For others, it's no problem at all. They can drink right before they go to bed and sleep solidly and hardly even move muscle. So everybody is a little bit different. Let me know what you think about the article, but also let me know, do you have any methods that you use to help you to get a good night's sleep? Or with your children, how do you manage with your children if they're not sleeping well, or if they're having issues or falling asleep at school? That happens. Um, I honestly think it mostly happens because they stay up all night while the parents are sleeping, and then they can't stay up all day as well. As much energy as we have when we're young, we really don't do 24/7 very well. Humans need sleep, and as I always tell my students, it helps. So you can do your schoolwork better. You can stay awake during the day. You'll also do your sports better. It's better for your muscles. It's better for your brain. It's better for your heart. There's a lot of good reasons. I did agree with, I forget how they worded it in the text there, but we do undervalue sleep. I think that at least in some societies, we think we should always be producing, we should always be working, or always be studying, or always be doing something. I don't think so. I think we definitely need our sleep. It's a huge part of regenerating our mind and our body and staying healthy. It even helps you with weight control. You need a good sleep to help with if you're having any weight issues, overweight or underweight, I think, because yeah, it restores the body. It's kind of like a medicine. So definitely try to get your sleep. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, hit that thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment if you want to. I read and answer all of the comments that come in. And other than that, just keep learning, keep having fun. And as usual, Ron is looking for the button so he can stop recording. Until next time, bye-bye for now.